Red Ray Gun Limited presents... Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hesitated, goodness.
Loch Ness straight away, right in there.
I meant good, I didn't know. Well, the trouble is we had a false start, folks. That was the, I forgot to press the record button, just to confess. That was the Loch Ness game. It's not about Loch Ness, and it is not a game.
But this is the Benji Nick Show, your number one vintage TV podcast in the whole universe. That's right. We've elevated above the known world to the whole universe.
Definitely.
We talk about cult television, vintage TV, TV from the past, TV
Yes.
you might remember, TV you might want to forget. And we review it, we look over it, we think to ourselves, is it worth watching? We might even save you the hassle of doing so, or we might reward you with something that you'll love. So there we go.
A recommendation of gloriousness.
It's delightful.
Yes. What are we talking about today, Benji?
Well, we're talking about The Third Man, The Third Man, which is a TV series 1959 to 1965. It's a real oddity that's been brought to our attention by Loch Ness tier patron Chris David when we had one of our first chats with him as part of Chris's monthly Zoom chat with us as he's in the Loch Ness tier. And he came straight to the table and said, you know, I think you should check out The Third Man. So we've honoured that, and this week, of course, is The Third Man.
Our special guest reviewer, Shelley Dean, will be here, of course. And our dear friend, Jamie Anderson, who knows, he said he might be able to. So, I mean, I'll send him an invitation at some point.
You never know with that, you never know.
In a moment, your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. And thanks to all of you, as well as Chris David, for subscribing to us on Patreon. It enables us to create all sorts of brilliant extra content. Also gives you a discount on merchandise at nicholasbriggs.com. There's mugs, there's t-shirts. Go and have a look. It's great. And you know, if you're not a Patreon subscriber, that's fine. You can still get that stuff.
Loads
not for the discount,
but
but you can still get the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't there? There is no problem with that. And well, what on earth have I just done? I just clicked off.
Click off.
It's all fine. It's all fine.
Shall I read this first email?
Yes, please read it. Remember, you can send your emails to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. Get them over and it might get read out. Off you go, Nick.
Like this one. The subject is The Big Pitch, and of course it's from Thomas Hodden. It was sent on the 23rd of December, so quite a while back, in the year 1923, even further back. Gentlemen, thank you for allowing me this chance to pitch my new premium subscriber content drama show, Windsor Freeman, Chronal Agent, to star your good selves. I understand your time is precious and you have other pitches to hear, so I will keep this brief. Mr. Briggs will star as Windsor Freeman, a Special Forces agent sent back from the future as part of a time travel Cold War. He's a capable soldier, spy, and a brutally effective killer, a master of close combat, and a skilled sniper trapped in hostile territory where his enemies are better equipped, better established, and deeply rooted in the establishment. He is, in short, a man whose constant terror borders on paranoia, but who has no option but to move from one mission to the next, caught in an eternal game of cat and mouse with a terrifying army of genetically modified fascists.
Just the usual.
The usual, really, yeah. Benji will play his next-door neighbour, Bob, a man who enjoys listening to the cricket on the radio, tending to his garden, and other budget-friendly pursuits. It was sounding really serious for about a paragraph there, wasn't it?
You can imagine Bob's a nice guy, you know.
He is, yeah.
Just
well,
happy
your
with
ideal casting.
Garden Monthly, really, you know. Got me Garden Monthly.
Windsor's mission to nudge history onto a path that will avoid a disaster that once saw 23% of the world's population killed. Enemy agents working for the mysterious Fracture are not only combating his efforts, but actively trying to bring about the fracture sooner to cement their control on the future. Freeman's memory of the future is somewhat hazy, and he can no longer be sure that the future even exists. The more small victories he wins, and the further he shifts the timeline, the more unreliable his sense of self is, and the less certain he is of his orders. Is he saving the world, or have his masters lost their way? Bob, on the other hand, is worried he should have painted the cold frame rather than staining the wood, and is unsure if Kent should have chosen to bat first. In the first thrilling episode, Nick will be tasked with protecting a woman whose murder was never solved in his timeline, but soon learns her murder was part of a cover-up of a terrifying weapons program. Meanwhile, for the remaining 40 minutes of runtime, Benji waits in all day for a delivery. Can he risk nipping to the shops for a pint of milk? Will he make it back before the delivery? What's that bloody great mushroom cloud on the horizon?
Well, if he's intelligent, he'd just get a milkman, and then he wouldn't have to worry about that.
Thrilling stuff, I'm sure you agree. Yours, T.E. Hodden. Of course, the way you can do a cheap special effect of a mushroom cloud, do you know how to do it?
No.
Well, what you do is you get a tank of water, and you put milk. You put a load of milk into it, and as the milk goes in, it forms an upside down mushroom, and then you superimpose that.
Oh, that's
flipped
clever.
Up the other way. I'm sure it's been used before.
The milk technique.
Yes.
What I found on my desk. It's a little tiny. I don't know if you can see that in the camera there. It's a little tiny Viking helmet. It's not. It's some form of nut or bolt.
It's an ear thing, isn't it? Nuts.
It could be a little Viking hat.
Butterfly. They're called butterfly nut. Butterfly nut.
It should be called Viking nut. We got another email here. This one here is from Snatcher. It was sent on the 27th of the first.
I think it's S. Hatcher, Steve Hatcher.
Oh, Steve Hatcher, of course it is. Sorry, Steve. I prefer Snatcher, actually.
It's a new series pitched by Thomas Hodden, Snatcher.
Steve Hatcher is Snatcher. A detective who's down on his luck and snatches opportunities when they come his way. Steve Hatcher in a sort of nice coat, maybe a hat. This is sent on 27th of the 1st, 2021, the year of our Lord 1125. So, right approaching the Middle Ages there. Or indeed in the Middle Ages, I suppose one could actually say. Hi Nick, Benji and Shelley. Very much enjoyed your discussion of Nigel Neal's Beasts episode, special offer, and your enthusiasm for it. It's a great series, and Russell T Davies is right about the episode. Baby is fabulous. However, the outstanding episode is the second one, during Barty's Party, starring Anthony Bates, in which a middle-aged and middle-class couple listen to a radio show whilst besieged by an army of civilization-destroying killer rats. Now, Nick, this one rings a bell with you, doesn't it? It's just an incredible piece of TV, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Keep up the good work, Steve.
Yes, I haven't watched it again. I know Shelley watched it and she preferred Special Offer, didn't she? She said.
I need to watch it now to sort this problem out.
Yeah,
Sounds good,
I've got to watch it, but I do remember it at the time. This is the one I really remember, I think.
It's definitely piqued my interest.
There's lots of scrabbling of rats and... Obviously, I mean,
that's one of the iconic sound effects, isn't it? The old rat scratching at the door and all that business,
Now listen here, Julian Botting, which he's got something to say about the pronunciation of his name. But anyway, he's the subject matter is Moany Bastard, sent on the 25th of January in the year 1209. Julian, as you may remember, complained about us going on about Patreon and then wrote in to say that he was just a moaning old sod. Hi guys, it's me again, the moany bastard from Brighton. Ha ha ha, laughy emoji. Just listened to your 240121 podcast and it kind of reminds me of an old joke. I was taking a shortcut through a graveyard on the way home from the pub a while back. It was a very dark and more than a little eerie. As I walked, I could hear a faint tapping. We're both doing the sound of it, of course. It got louder and louder. I was getting a little nervous. As I swayed around a tombstone, I came across a little old man with a hammer and chisel working on a stone. Jesus, bud, I said, you scared the life out of me. What on earth are you doing at this time of night chiseling on a grave? The old boy slowly looked up, I think. They spelt my name wrong. Ha 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 ha. My name is an old Essex name, Botting. Ha ha ha. Laughy emoji. Not bolting or bottling. Ha ha ha. Moan over. Love the Beast podcast. I'll be buying a copy of the DVD.
Hey, there
Thumbs
we go.
up twice, Ju. There you go. Well, thank you, Julian, for writing in. It's sent from his iPhone just in case you wanted to know. What do you think of that?
I think that's jolly good. It's a great gag. I'm the victim. I'm sure it's probably me that got that wrong. I do apologise. I'm the victim of I always get like automated posts that's sent and often spells my name as Banjo. Which is really irritating.
Well, I often type your name as Banjo by mistake.
Just old
Isn't
Banjo.
That weird.
Yeah,
I think if you make a little mistake, autocorrect corrects it to Banjo.
It does go to Banjo. It's infuriating, but if somebody calls me Banjo, I mean, it's just part of it, isn't it? At least it's sort of in the same ballpark as me as a person. A musical sort of specimen.
Yes, Benji's Banjo.
Benji's Banjo cliffhanger. That'll do me. Well, I suppose it's now time in this podcast where we invite in our resident reviewer from over the seas. It's Shelley Dean.
Over the seas, she's the bee's knees. It's Shelley Dean. She's sent me a WhatsApp message with that sign on it. Is that a good thing?
Sign. It's like the rock and roll sign, isn't it?
Here she is.
Oh, my Watney's Party 7 has just arrived.
Wow.
Exciting.
Two exciting things have arrived at once. The Watney's Party 7 and Shelley Dean.
Yeah. What was the first one?
Watney's Party 7.
I only cared about me.
It's a very niche. It's a beer from the 70s, basically.
Oh, okay.
So we're not going to ask you how it's going because we say that every week.
Well, I have a question for you guys.
Oh, yeah, go on.
What is crack-a-lackin'?
What is crack-a-lackin'? It's cracking. Not lost crack-a-lackin'. Well, I'll tell you what's crack-a-lackin'. I've just had an order at my door, and Watney's Party 7 has arrived, which is an old beer from the 60s and 70s, which you used to have to open it, Shelley, with a screwdriver to be able to get to the 7
Not just a bottle
pints.
opener?
No, it's like a full-on, so it's like almost like a paint pot. You have to jam it open, and inside is about 7 pints, hence the Party 7. Although this is now in a modern keg with 8 pints in it, so it's actually not a Party 7.
I'm just trying to think if there was a sort of like old advert jingle for Watney's. I know there was Whitbread Trophy Bitter. Yeah, Whitbread Trophy Bitter, the pint that thinks it's a quart. It's got the body that satisfies it, no matter how it tries. That's how it goes. I'm going to find it now. Go on,
I think there was one for Watney's Red Barrel, which was, I think it was something like, roll out Red Barrel.
Oh, yeah.
So stealing the song.
Yes.
Why not? If you're gonna. There's that great video on YouTube of John Pertwee singing "Roll Out a Barrel," isn't there? Dressed in a World War I German hat.
Oh,
what
my
a
goodness! Yeah.
Going on
Let's see what we've got here. What's this? Yeah. You seen the size of the pint?
That's my type of size.
That's like my coffee cup.
Fill it with beer.
Bitter.
Trophy bitter.
Whitbread Big Head.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
There was another one where they Tankard. Have you heard of Tankard?
Tankard's long gone, isn't it? Tankard.
And Stanley was the name of the fictional character who drank. Oh no, they haven't got it.
Stanley Tankard.
Tip tap, tip tap. Everybody's looking stuff up.
Oh, hold on, Bill. No, not got it. How do you do it, Stanley? It's Tankard that helps me excel. After one, I do anything well. That's the song. They've not got it on YouTube.
I miss adverts being fun like that. I like adverts where they just sing songs about how great the product is. That's much more fun, isn't it?
It's great, buy it, please, or we go past. Da 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 da.
Funny gag. It's that's the way. So this has opened a whole can of beer-shaped worms now.
Well, the jingle writing of TV, you see.
That's precisely.
For mash get smash.
Yeah.
I think you harmonised with me there.
I did. You did for mash get smash. So I would say for mash get smash, for mash get smash, for mash get smashed, before Marsh gets smashed.
Shelley's face is a picture right now. She's like, what is the matter with him?
Oh, I know what's the matter. I just don't. I'm not familiar with that jingle.
No, you wouldn't be.
Only the flakiest. No, was it only the
Crumbliest, flakiest chocolate. Tastes like chocolate never tasted before.
Oh dear.
And a woman very suggestively eating a chocolate flake.
Of course, because sex and chocolate.
Sex and chocolate go hand in hand.
And on that note, let's leave you with that thought.
Okay, yes. So this week we're doing The Third Man TV show, as we said earlier on. There are 77 episodes of this, and it's based on the novel and film The Third Man, which starred Michael Rennie, not to be confused with Michael Gaviscon, as Harry Lime. Lime is now an international private investigator. Very exciting there. So, Nick, this was a co-production, was it, between NTA Film Network and the
funnily
BBC?
enough, it says that on the script.
Yeah, that's why I think you ruined
NTA
my
Film
great
Network.
hosting there. You would have thought I was so knowledgeable.
And
we
the
need
BBC.
a poking mechanism, and it's your turn.
Yeah, that was me saying, come on, Nick, I'm giving you some lines here.
Oh, yeah, well, the first 20 episodes were shot at 20th Century Fox Studios in Hollywood. Later episodes were filmed at Shepperton Studios and Associated British Elstree Studios in England. The latter, we have visited, Benji, haven't we, for those Elstree evenings? Yeah.
We've
The
still-
Associated British Elstree Studios,
Yeah.
we've
which is quite the mouthful.
Yeah, I know.
We've had great fun there. We've eaten cheese. We've had a few nibbles, some crisps, some beers.
Well, I've
Some
been to
beer.
20th Century Fox in
Well, there we go.
Hollywood,
We've pretty
so-
much got it all covered. Nick's been to the BBC.
Not
I've been
this
to
week.
BBC in Brighton, that tiny radio station.
Yeah.
All we need is the NTA Film Network, and we're all sorted, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I've got the breakdown of what
Yeah.
it is. Like as you guys mentioned, we're discussing The Third Man. It's a TV show which is loosely based on the novel by Graham Greene and the 1949 film which stars Orson Welles as the lead character.
Yeah.
The television series ran from 1959 to 1965, and it stars Michael Rennie. That you said, I don't need to say all of this. I wrote it, but I don't need to say it. So Harry Lime and Jonathan
Who did
Harris.
it star?
And Jonathan Harris stars as his assistant,
Yeah.
Brad Webster. And that takes us on the adventures of a suave international art dealer whose criminal past occasionally haunts him. But unlike the book and the film, the TV series, Harry Lime was presented as a man who successfully made the transition from thief and black marketeer to a law-abiding import-export company operator. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they did switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And the episode that we watched is from the first series, which was shot in Hollywood, as we mentioned, and it is called The Angry Young Man. In it, Harry investigates the supposed suicide of a friend under very suspicious circumstances. The man had a son who hated him, an employee who may have been leeching off of him, and a new young wife. All who had reasons to want him dead.
Classic scenario.
I didn't know this one was shot in Hollywood because it's set in London, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it said the first 20 episodes were shot in Hollywood, and then they switched it over, and so this fell into the Hollywood filming. But I think that some of the shots were not really great. Like the shot of the bridge was kind of like
Tower Bridge
of a drawing with some like little shadow figures.
Yeah, it was
cars
done-
driving across it.
It was done. I thought there was something wrong with the video because they kind of jutted along, didn't they? Sort of went.
Yeah, but I think that's because it was shot in Hollywood and they were just kind of using a little...
Whatever they had.
They had a bit of
Yeah.
stock footage of London as well as the rubbish model shots. Yes, I noticed the river wasn't moving at all.
Oh, when he drove up to the
Yeah.
to the yacht.
Oh, no,
place.
I mean when you see the bridge shot and the car goes across, the car is the only thing in that image moving. The river is not flowing. It's just a photograph of a river, I think.
Perhaps it was very cold and it froze over. That's
it,
the
yeah.
explanation. I mean, that's the thing for a Hollywood shot thing. It's surprisingly unsophisticated in that regard.
It's very old.
But it's very. I was going to say, but it's very old.
Late 50s.
And it's not really about that. It's about the dialogue, the characters, and
Yes.
the situation, in which is very. I think it's quite an interesting piece, actually.
I was so impressed with how much of a whodunit they shoved into 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
but not feeling like it was too much. I really enjoyed it for a quick little whodunit kind of thing. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think it does exactly what it sets out to do. I mean, now that explains it for me that it was shot in Hollywood, because the guy who plays the personal secretary of the dead man is meant to be
Crary.
English. Yeah,
he was Max Adrian played Crary.
Well, his accent veers into the Atlantic a few times, doesn't it? And heads towards America. Not entirely, he makes a fairly good fist of it. But they decided to get some English actors in, and they've got Roger Moore and Jean Marsh.
Two fantastic choices.
Yeah, who must have gone over. They went over to America to film this. It must have been a big deal for them very early on in both their careers.
Well, this is the thing that it makes you realise. When I was watching, I was thinking, Roger Moore, when he was cast as James Bond, that was not late in his career, but he certainly not at the, I know that from before James Bond, obviously he was doing The Saint, where
That's what made him an international star.
A lot younger, but then to see him here, where he's even younger, he's so young, it made me realise, he's sort of peaked later on, really, if that makes sense. Because he's great
I'm still
in this.
hoping for that myself.
Yeah, you could be James Bond, Nick.
It took me a minute to figure. I saw him and I went, "Oh, I know that guy from somewhere." And then and then it just smacked me in the face, and I was like, "The doy, of course, that's Roger Moore." And I even knew it was Roger Moore was in it going into it, but my brain.
And really young Jean Marsh as well.
Do you know? I presume, Shelley, you're not that familiar with Jean Marsh, are you?
Not at all.
She's famous in this country for being the creator and sort of star of a very long-running 1970s series called Upstairs Downstairs, which was just set in an Edwardian house, and and she co-devised it. But in Doctor Who terms, she played Sarah Kingdom, who was a short-lived companion for the first Doctor, William Hartnell.
Oh, okay.
She was also John Pertwee's first wife, and she was in a Sylvester McCoy story called Battlefield, in which she played Morgaine. Is that right?
Yes, she did. Correct.
A sort of Arthurian
villain,
interdimensional witch-like figure. Yeah. So she's a little bit of a known.
She was in London's Burning as well. She played.
Well, there you go.
She played
if they're in London's Burning, then
Bailey's Scottish wife, for some reason.
Oh.
But she's great. She's one of those people you can. She's a safe pair of hands. You can trust her to do a good job. I think. I don't think she's. Some actors, they they'll be great in one thing and maybe not so successful at doing something else. But I think she's got a pretty good track record for just being a solid worker. Roger Moore, of course, in his element here, playing a very different character to what I'd imagine.
Well, sort of playing a character, because normally he doesn't, does he? Normally he just does Roger Moore, really, or that screen version of Roger Moore. He famously, used to talk about the fact that when he left drama school, they told him that he couldn't act and he would never amount to anything. But he was beautiful, beautiful man, beautiful boy,
gorgeous.
But I think everything I ever heard about him in every interview, and he didn't do that many, I ever saw of him, I just liked him,
Well,
he
just
was
a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he did loads of charity work as well, and humanitarian work.
Well, he was a UNICEF ambassador, and my wife did a dissertation on him for her master's degree. Yeah.
Wow. Well, there we go. That sums it up. Somebody with many strings to their bow. And somebody with a good reputation, and it showed that for me those two actors were really the standouts for me in this, just because I guess I'm more familiar with them than the others, but I liked seeing that.
Michael Rennie.
I was just going to say that Roger Moore was not a nice guy in this role.
No, that's
he was beastly, wasn't he? Beastly.
He was awful, and I just couldn't. When the Helen was trying to, Jean Marsh was trying to defend him in the scene where she was talking to Harry and saying, "No, he's really not like this. He's a really nice guy." And I'm thinking, the way he speaks about her, she's just this middle class, lowly, like
She
piece
has
of
no idea.
garbage on the bottom of his shoe. Like, it was just... Yeah,
very familiar theme of these old dramas, the hateful man who the women, in spite of themselves, still love.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah,
but doesn't that happen in life, doesn't it?
Yes.
You know, so many people are in that same scenario where they love people who are beastly to them.
That's right. Yeah. It's bitter, unattractive, bespectacled writers hate the handsome guys, don't they? You know what I mean? So they always make them to be total arses, basically.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, a lot of those kind of people, because they have been given so much in their life because they're so attractive, because let's face it, attractive gains more than unattractive. And they become insufferable sometimes. So sometimes deserved opinions on them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's so much we could say about that.
So true. Yeah, that's a can of worms.
But it's nice to know that Roger Moore, being as gorgeous as he is actually a loving, caring, empathetic, fabulous human being who did a lot for charity. So that's lovely to
also,
know.
Also, my friend Sam Clements, who makes short films, when he made a film, obviously Sam's father was Brian Clements, who was instrumental in a lot of old British TV, you know, The Avengers and stuff like that. Yeah. A great writer and producer, and some movies as well. He knew Roger Moore probably from the days of The Saint, actually, because I think Brian Clements wrote for that as well. And Roger came and did a bit of voiceover for one of Sam's short films. You know, just came and did it for nothing. Yeah. So nice guy, you know. That was very late on when he was very, very old. And he didn't want to be filmed. He only wanted to just record a voice for it, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say Michael Rennie, not to be confused with the indigestion remedy.
Paul Gaviscon, yeah.
Oh, Rennies. We have a thing called Rennies, which is what you take if you've got indigestion. He was. Right here is the reason why Michael Rennie ended up being in the really rubbish, lovable series Lost in Space, isn't it? He guest starred for 2 episodes because he was obviously mates with Jonathan
Harris.
I always forget his surname.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Keith Harris, a completely different person.
Yeah. The cat is just ripping up a carpet in here. Can you not do that? Any chance? I'm just going to have to
negotiating with the cat.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not
quite
going to work,
familiar
is it?
with that.
Carry on. I'm just going to let. Yeah. Oh no! Do you want to go out?
I'm just enjoying this glorious chaos, to be honest.
Guinness is going to have her own segment on our show.
Just called mischief making with Guinness.
Actually, when you guys put me on, I had a cat down here beneath me who was trying to come up on my lap. So I was just like, I'm like pushing her down. I was like, no, you cannot come up on me right now.
Of course, the irony of cats is they think you're beneath them because every world revolves around the cats.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go out. She just wants to meow at me. That's what she wants to do while she's looking out of the shed there.
Because you're talking and she assumes you're talking to her.
That's what it is.
That's what my cats do.
My cats shut up about Michael Rennie. I don't care. I'm a cat. It doesn't bother me.
In a former life, she was Michael Rennie's cat. Jonathan Harris gives a very different performance here, doesn't he?
Very straight, very, very subdued. And as I was doing my research, which there wasn't a lot about this series online.
No, I mean, we were quite surprised. When Chris David told us about it, we didn't know what he was talking about, did we?
Yeah, and the fact that it ran for so long and had so many I was very surprised that there wasn't more. And one of the things that I did see was how, and it makes me more intrigued to watch the rest of it, but that Jonathan Harris plays such the straight man to Harry Lime is like, I guess, a complete womanizer. All he does is chase after the women. And there's a little bit at the end of this episode where he says he's going to go talk to Helen. And Jonathan Harris is just like, oh, okay. You know, like, because apparently this is Harry Lime's MO, is to go and console the poor girls and whatnot. And so it was just very interesting to have that. We didn't really get to see so much of their relationship, the Brad and Harry's relationship, but he was definitely not. When he first started speaking, I was like, whoa. Because like I said before, I knew him personally.
Which is just amazing.
Yeah,
I love
he was
that.
a client, and I spent lots of time with him in the recording studio, and he's just the most lovely, lovely man. And so to hear him when he started speaking, I was like, whoa, because that's just not the Jonathan Harris, that voice that I'm familiar with.
No.
So, yeah.
I mean, he was a bit like that at the beginning of Lost in Space. He played it a bit more straight, but once he, found his way of playing Dr. Zachary Smith in Lost in Space, he and Billy Mooney became the whole reason people watched that show.
Well, he was that character was only supposed to have like a 6-episode arc.
There you go.
But everyone fell
in
love with him, and he kind of became the creme de la creme. And one of the things that happened later in life was he had such animosity with the other actors on the show that doing conventions, he would insist that he was nowhere near them.
Wow.
For autograph tables. And
what
I was
his animosity? What?
Well, just I guess there was a lot. I don't know the guy who played the dad on the show. I don't know.
Who ended up playing Zorro, or had previously played Zorro as well.
Oh.
He was TV star guy, someone.
I don't know. But I guess there might have been something because he thought he should be the star.
Yeah.
But just later in life, he and Bill Mooney were very, very close because Bill was also a client of mine. So I knew them together, which was always fun because I wasn't. Lost in Space was a little bit before my time.
Yes.
So I didn't actually watch any of it until I was older. So I didn't know them as those characters, but I knew them as people, personally.
Which is so cool.
And people just used to freak out, like if they would be say they were in the lobby at the same time, people would be like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like to see the two of them together. People just loved it.
Wow, that's incredible.
I didn't realise that that Jonathan Harris was in A Bug's Life, where he played one of their main characters. I had no idea he was Manny in A Bug's Life.
No, he did a lot of voiceovers. That's how I knew him.
Prey Mantis in the Bug's Life, and also Jerry in Toy Story 2. Now, Jamie, Jamie's here. You're a big fan of A Bug's Life, aren't you?
What?
Love it.
So the cat is actually trying to eat my jacket now.
That's what they
She's
all
really
say.
demanding attention. Look, people think I'm making you up, Guinness. Come here.
Imagine if he sat up and he was just pretending to hold a cat.
There's no cat there. And who is this interloper instead of Benji Clifford?
Oh no, it's dreadful, isn't it?
He shaved his beard off.
It's a 12-year-old boy that we found.
It's so bad. It's the classic thing that I was playing. I was shaving my face, and I got I got this razor, which is the shaving thing. It's a great idea, but in practice, it doesn't work that well. It's got a vacuum inside it, so when you shave, it sucks.
It's like a Flowbee.
It sucks the hair in. It's really clever.
It's a Flowbee for your face.
Pretty much, yeah.
What is a Flowbee, for goodness sake?
A Flowbee is your personal hair cutting machine that
We've all
you
got one.
literally stick on your. It's a vacuum, but it has little scissory things, so it
Blades.
pulls the hair up. And then as it cuts, all the hair gets sucked up in. George Clooney just famously did an interview like 3 weeks ago, that he professed his love for the Flowbee because that's how he cuts his hair.
The Flowbee.
I'm sorry about all the bashing noises. Look, Guinness is moving
Guinness
my
wants
microphone.
to talk on the microphone.
That bashing noise, folks, is Guinness. And her look, what is the matter with you? You're just annoying.
Got to make it smell like her. That's what they rub their faces on things.
Yeah. Cats to make it smell like me. Yes.
Absolute chaos.
That feel good, Jamie?
I'm having a good old rub here.
But
now.
Benji, I was hoping for the porn stash you had the other day.
Yes,
that was what I was hoping for.
I think Nick was disappointed. Yeah, so basically, I went to shave my face, and where I'd fastened the clipper on a number 6 to get myself a nice, good amount of beard growth, but just trim it up a bit. The thing went and snapped down. And of course, I went like that. and just had this big patch of nothing there. I thought,
there.
no. So I had to shave it all off. I left, and I did the fun game that everybody does when they shave their beard off, which is play with the various looks that you can go. It was wonderfully described on my
everyone does
on
that.
Twitter. It's saying you start off as like the Victorian policeman, then you go to the kind of Hulk Hogan look, you know, then the cowboy moustache, the 70s porn star moustache, and eventually ending up with Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding.
But so I waxed on
shot.
my polyester shirt and rocked the crazy moustache. And I'm quite gutted I didn't keep the moustache now because.
Why didn't you?
Well, because I wanted to get a full growth of a beard. I don't want to have the Dick Strawbridge look going on where it sort of looks huge at the front.
Like anyone knows who Dick Strawbridge
I do,
is.
yeah.
Sam
the
Elliott?
French castle people.
Yeah, Escape to the Chateau.
Yeah, come on. Keep up.
Escape to the Chateaux.
Yeah.
So I so I got rid of it. So here I am like a baby, and I just want to, it's not a good look. I forgot what my face was like.
Maybe
now
with
to
a
beard,
5 o'clock shadow.
I was going to say, we look like a sort of gang of weirdly, slightly bearded babies, the three of us. Obviously, Shelley, you escaped that. But
Well,
Yeah.
This is
You're our sister. Jamie, we've been talking about The Third Man, the TV series. I mean, have you ever seen the movie The Third Man?
no.
Famous Orson Welles movie.
I know of it.
Yeah.
But the
Well,
only reason I know of it is because a cover of a Big Finish release that I directed was styled after the movie poster, I believe.
Oh, right.
There you go. Does that help?
Some top
Yeah,
trivia
really
there.
helps. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm trying.
And then, bizarrely, in the 1950s, they decided to make a TV series of it, in which they just really to use the name of the TV series, folks. Don't you think? Is that what we're saying? Because
to
really,
go
they
off
changed
the
the
bat,
character
yeah.
completely.
it's the essence of the character. But he has completely changed from being a
So he's not-
miscreant, horrible person that he was. I guess he was like just terrible in the movie. He
was
just
horrible.
horrible. And to now like a nice kind of guy, I guess.
It's
in
like
the
doing a
TV
series
show.
about Hannibal Lecter, but he just buys children ice creams,
Well, they
Ice
did do. They are
creams.
doing a series about Hannibal.
I know, but
Lecter.
he's not a good guy, is he?
No.
Pureed human brain ice creams. Delicious.
Have this ice
It's
cream.
a really good show. If anyone hasn't watched it yet, the Hannibal is really good.
Hannibal the ice cream man. Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
Goes around with like a sort of massive red ice cream van covered in blood. Lovely.
Well, it goes with the John Wayne Gacy clown at children's birthday parties vibe, I guess.
Just the classic, it's a good vibe, isn't it? Really.
What is going on?
I don't know. So, Jamie, how have you been anyway? What's going on in your world? Anything exciting?
I've
Any
been
serial
fine.
killing happening on your end?
No, I've got a large red box here. Is that?
Ooh, what's inside
What's in it?
Oh,
What's in it?
it's the blank for our Supercar 6th anniversary treasury box.
Supercar.
Oh,
But there's nothing in it.
It's a sample. That's why.
it's a sample. That's nice.
Yeah, I went to the Thunderbirds Hotel. I must stop calling it that. I went to the new Moxie Hotel in Slough, which has a partial Thunderbirds theme.
I can't believe you didn't go with us. I thought that was meant to be our
There's
big
a
adventure.
lockdown.
It's not open yet. That's
Oh,
why.
that's why. Okay. What's it like? Is it? Have they gone for that kind of future vibe of?
It's so the Moxie has got its own kind of urban hipster brand, which sounds terrible but isn't. So
Okay.
it's the
It
looks good
Thunderbird
to me
stuff
in the
that
photos.
fits in. Yeah, it's really really nice. They've done a fantastic job. It's
Have a
sort
look
of
on the old.
yeah, there's nothing online yet, Benji. It's all
Is it not
secret. If you see
there?
anything there,
Moxie
it's only
Slough.
concept art, and it's much better than that now. So
Oh really? It says Marriott Hotel.
yeah,
Marriott
yeah.
Group. Interesting. Okay,
I mean,
well,
I'll send you some pics, but we'll definitely convene there, and it's very close to Heathrow. Hint, hint, Shelley. So
well, if you guys will ever let us back in.
yeah.
Well, you're not letting us in, so it's fair enough.
We'll see you in 2024 or 5.
Yes.
But yeah, at some point there. It's very cool. They've done a nice job, and
No, as
It's
soon
cool.
as borders open again and I've got everyone's vaccinated and all that stuff, I am there.
the first
Yes.
place I'm going to go is Slough, England.
We'll have a
my
Benji and
sister's
Nick
in
show.
Slough at the moment.
Yeah? We'll have a Benji and Nick show convention in that hotel.
Perfect. Just the
go.
5 of us.
Yeah, exactly. That's
enough.
all turn up.
Done.
By the way, we haven't given the number of exclamation marks for the third man.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll give it
Jamie's giving it 2, even though he's never seen it or heard of it.
I'll give it a 3. Thought it was good. It didn't change my life, but I enjoyed it. I think that's I think it was good fun.
I'm going to give it a 4 because
Wow.
it did change my life. No, I for what? Just for a 25-minute little show that that there's 77 episodes and I haven't seen any of them and I have no idea what's going on. It was a clear mystery, figure out who did it, and then it's done.
It's good. It's good.
And I liked it. I liked it. So I'm going to give, and I love Jonathan Harris, so I'm going to give it a 4.
For all those reasons, I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was solidly done. See, Jamie, it was like a nice bit of filmed TV from the 1950s, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't too overacted. It was very. I really enjoyed it. Like and you
Classy
tend to not.
actors.
Yeah, in the 50s, it could be a little like a little too dramatic and a little too much, and it wasn't. It was just.
Yeah, I'm
It was
not
just
a big.
nice and clean.
I'm not a
Yeah.
big 50s lover. We've discussed this before. I'm not a fan of the 50s. I don't pine for the look. 50s fashion is quite popular now. That 50s look. I just don't dig the 50s. I wouldn't want to go back to the 50s.
But this was for like grown-ups in the 50s, so it's more like the 40s, to be quite frank, isn't
Oh,
it?
definitely more like the 40s. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's very yeah. Interesting. Well, yeah.
Okay.
So there we are.
There we go.
Jamie, you can. Just for a moment, then I'd completely forgotten your name, which is slightly troubling. Yeah, I hope I'm not having one of my acute
No.
confusion. I am. I can't actually say words anymore.
Acute confusional migraine.
Yeah.
One of those.
Would you be interested to see the process of us discussing what we're going to talk about next week?
Nothing would thrill me more.
Well, then I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah.
say last week we spoke. I brought up something that I had been. I think it was last week. Time, who knows? That I had said that I had started a list of American TV shows that I wanted to share with you guys. That we could do a little turnaround
Yeah.
like we did with Land of the Lost. And so I started creating this list. I was just kind of going off memory of shows I really enjoyed in the 70s. And then I was doing some research on them, and lo and behold, I found out that a bunch of them started out as British TV shows, and I was flabbergasted. I couldn't even believe that. I never knew that. And so
They kept it from you.
yeah, so just a couple of the list that I had come up with was the American show was Three's Company, and that was based on a British show called Man About the House. And then there's an American show called All in the Family, which was Till Death Do Us Part. And Sanford and Son, which was Steptoe and Son. And then Too Close for Comfort was in England was Keep It in the Family.
I don't remember. What's Keep It in the Family?
I don't know. It was
Does anyone know that?
Too Close for Comfort was the American version. So what I thought would be fun, since these are shows that you guys, well, except for that last one, that you're familiar with, I thought it would be fun if we could watch Three's Company.
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful, I mean, it's just iconic here in America. It was John Ritter, who was so
I've
amazing.
Never heard of. Yeah.
You've never heard of John Ritter? Oh.
Never.
He passed away, I don't know how many years ago, but it was horrible. He had like a brain aneurysm or something. He was young.
lovely.
It was shocking.
How
It was
cheerful.
horrible. But yeah, no, it was just very sad. John Ritter, Suzanne Summers, and Joyce DeWitt all star in this slapstick comedy.
Who were the stars of Man About the House, folks? Anyone know?
Anyone?
I can't
Richard
remember their
O'Sullivan.
names. It's Richard
Richard
O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan, Sally Thompson, who was in The Railway Children.
Bernard Ingham and
Who's Bernard Ingham?
he's like
And I can't remember her name now, but she was who was the main love interest? Because there's one girl. There's a kind of if it's the same format, there's a kind of
Joan
kooky girl and
isn't it? Yeah.
Joan Rutherford. There's a
main
kooky
love
girl and a
interest.
gorgeous girl that the guy is in love with. Really,
Yeah, Joan Rutherford.
That's
I'm gonna have to
Bernard
find-
Sorry,
Ingham.
Peggy. those eyebrows.
That's Bernard Ingham. That's the. Now I can do things since Guinness has got off my lap. She spotted another cat in the.
Good Lord.
Is that what he looks like now?
Richard O'Sullivan as Robin, Paula Wilcox as
Paula
Chrissy, and Sally Tomsett as Joe.
Yeah, Paula Wilcox. We
Yeah.
were
And
all
Suzanne
in love.
Summers plays that character,
Yeah.
Chrissy.
Yeah,
She's the ditzy one.
right. We were all
Yeah.
in love with Paula Wilcox. We just, the whole, it was, I remember loving that series so much. I don't know whether, Richard O'Sullivan's a very competent farceur, a brilliant comedy actor. And he is still with us, although he's, I think he's in an old people's home now, the sort of famous actors' old people's home, Can't remember what it's called now. I think I'm going there soon.
Is it
And
the
he's
one with
not
the
even
animal
that-
Will
name?
you there in the morning?
He was born in 1944. He's not even, ancient. That's
No, certainly not as old as my mother. He was born in 1929.
2 years older than my dad, so...
So I feel that in some way Jamie Anderson should contribute more since he's bothered to turn up. But have you got any suggestions of your contribution?
Is it Denville
Show us the red
Hall?
box again, because that was very exciting.
Denville Hall, is that where the old actors go?
Denver Hall.
That is certainly one of the places, yes.
It's not the place.
It might be.
It's a place, that's for certain.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've established that.
I think Lala Ward is head of the trustees or something. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine thinking your whole life that you'll end up there, and then you actually end up in Clitheroe Amateur Dramatic Society rest home, end up having to go through all that carry on forever.
I think if you're a member of Equity, I think you have the opportunity to go there.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
exclusive.
there's an old age home in Hollywood that was I think it was I can't remember. I think it was either on Sunset Boulevard or Hollywood Boulevard, but it was I drove by it all the time, and I just would think how many famous old actors were there now, because it was if you were in SAG, that was where you go. So
SAG.
Screen Actors Guild.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
So, any further contributions, Jamie?
what can I say?
Really put you on the spot here.
Things have
entertain
happened
people.
today. Doing some exciting stuff. I'm quite hungry. I might eat an apple in a minute.
Yeah.
How's that?
Have you got a
It's
specific
excellent.
type of apple that you prefer to normal apples?
When I was a young lad, my late father was obsessed with pink lady apples.
Was he really?
And I always thought, they're a bit rubbish. I don't even like them. Well, now I love them. So
Really?
it's two things that I hated when I was younger that he loved: whiskey and pink ladies, and I love both now.
He likes to dip his pink lady in a glass of whiskey.
Who
Which
doesn't?
sounds painful.
Taste changes. That's the beauty of it all, isn't
Absolutely.
it,
That's
really?
what I'm hoping with my son, because he virtually doesn't eat anything at the moment.
You hope he gets into whiskey and pink ladies.
Yeah. What's the name of... There's a type of apple that begins with B.
Braeburn?
Braeburn.
Braeburn. Yeah. Those are the ones we have in this
Bramley.
household.
Or Bramley?
No, it's
yeah,
Bra- it's
nobody wants a
Braeburn, it's
Bramley.
Braeburn,
That's a cooking apple, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, no.
Bramley apple pie.
Bramley's not cooking apples.
Well, they don't. You can buy Bramleys just to eat as well.
I mean, you can buy a cooking apple just to eat if you want, but I
No,
mean,
but
people would think.
well,
you're
Shelley
end up
doesn't
with a
even know
bad
what
stomach,
cooking
don't
apples
you?
are. They don't have them in America.
Do they not?
We eat all apples, so I'm sure the professional pie makers know of
Pieman.
cooking apples, but we normally don't differentiate.
Well, we
between-
don't have to be professional pie makers in this country to know what a cooking apple is.
No, exactly.
There you go.
Perhaps we're all professional pie makers.
You are.
Yeah, perhaps I'd like to be a pie maker. I feel like that would be a fun profession.
I'm
Sounds
sure
like an
there's-
insult, actually. You professional pie maker.
Yeah, he thinks he's a professional pieman. Dear, oh dear.
Appleman.
Is it time to get close to the microphone?
Oh, what a
Yeah.
shame. I feel like I've, just
Hit your stride.
Just hit my stride, but I'll have to leave it till next time.
You're so low down in the frame, you look like you're the younger brother of all of us. All right, go back to your room, please. It's from me, Nick Briggs. It's goodbye.
From me, Benji C, it's good be.
And from me, Shelley Dean, it's bye.
And from the Pink Lady, ta-ra.
Must dip him in my whiskey. Pressing stop now. Ka-chung.